Sweep, sweep, bang, bang, California's got a plan to end homelessness.
Deja vu, I've just been in this place before. Higher on the street and I know it's my time to go.
If you think unhoused people should pull themselves up by their bootstraps, then this video is not for you, and you may kindly take your bootstraps and shove them up your. That's right, California is back at it again, and this time they're done. They've had it. The time for inaction is over. Yeah, inaction had its time, and you know what? Now it's not that time, and it's time now for action time. There's nothing compassionate about letting people die on the streets. So instead, we're gonna take their belongings, force them out of their dwellings, push them into shelters, and do this all with a recommended 2 days notice. Have you ever felt like you needed a change in life? Something drastic that'll really shake things up and give you some new perspectives. Have you considered being forcibly removed by police from your shelter and having many of your prized possessions stolen? No? That doesn't sound awesome and fun? So Gavin Newsom's new plan says there will be a prohibition on persistent camping in one location. And what good does this do? Well, it means people don't have to see homeless camps get bigger, silly. Instead, we spread them out over our kingdom, traumatizing people over and over. Every 3 days, to be exact, ensuring they stay in a constant cycle of pain and poverty. Homelessness is gone! And let's pause right there. Now, I know my liberal-minded friends already have some red flags waving. Why wouldn't we want homeless people in shelters? Don't we want to clean up the streets, etc.? Of course, but let me ask you this. If there are these shelters, these wonderful bastions of liberty where the bootstraps are pulled up by our collective community efforts, then why aren't homeless people using them? Well, here's a 23-page report from the New York Senate called The Horrors of Homeless Housing. Turns out, moving into a dirty place with potentially unstable people around and losing autonomy over your life and belongings doesn't actually appeal to people. I wonder why. No, not every shelter is like this, but I assure you, we have bigger problems to worry about. Let's do some math, and bear with me, there's going to be some real tough calculus in here. California has 187,000 homeless people, but it only has 70,000 shelter beds. So if we carry the 100, divide by 3.14, run the integral of theta over, that's not enough beds. So a lot of this plan is based around California, or should I say, the Newsom administration, providing these billions of dollars to help handle homelessness. Very good, very nice. However, Gabby, you have some ants in your pants here. I know you really want to clean up those streets so that you can roll into the 2028 Democratic primary and not have people bring this up. But we need to have a talk. Son, it doesn't work if you put the condom on afterwards. You gotta do that first, otherwise shit is all f***ed up. In other words, you can't put people in shelters if you don't have shelters. In other words, even if you do have shelters, they should probably be at least a little bit more appealing than sleeping here. Now, if any conservatives or neoliberals made it through my first warning and are thinking, oh, those bums just want to do drugs, that's why they don't go to shelters, I've got news for you. Forcing people to give up drugs or go to rehab in order to secure housing does absolutely nothing. Studies have consistently shown that the outcomes are no different if you just give people housing and don't force them to first give up drugs or go to rehab or whatever. Don't believe me? Well, look up housing first and also get f***ed, because I wrote a long-ass paper on this. Plus, I wonder if maybe, just maybe, it might be a little bit hard to give up the most addictive drugs on the planet if you're in a situation where you have absolutely no stability or shelter. Maybe. I suggest looking at those bootstraps again and considering how you're supposed to pull yourself up. So now that we've established that the plan is to repeatedly traumatize people for the sake of things looking pretty, spending valuable funds in the process and ultimately prolonging the homeless crisis, let's look at how we're shit out of luck anyways. Homelessness is a complicated problem. Kind of. Even if you shelter people, your work is not done. People can't really live out of an emergency shelter bed. They need an actual dwelling, somewhere where they can make raviolis with their girl. But as everyone around the country seems to like to talk about all the time, California housing is too goddamn expensive. You remember the caveat I had earlier? Homelessness is a complicated problem. Kind of. Yeah, that one. Well, it's because the solution to this problem is kind of simple. Just build more f***ing houses. Dear Lord, just build houses. Just do it. Rack 'em up, whack 'em up, down, all around. just build them. There's this really good book called Homelessness is a Housing Problem that you should definitely read because it will do an infinitely better job of talking about homelessness than I do here. But in a one-sentence summary, on a region-by-region basis, the only things correlated with high rates of homelessness are low vacancy rates and high absolute cost of housing. Not poverty, not drug abuse, not mental health, just housing. However, apparently building houses is also complicated for a gabillion other reasons that could be their own super long video. But riddle me this, I have another complex math equation incoming. What if we spent money on fixing housing instead of on policing the most destitute people in our society? Can we do that? Unpaid accountant intern, what do you think?
Oh, well, gosh, boss, I mean, maybe we could try it.
If you want to solve homelessness, sweeping people will not do it. Shelters alone will not do it. You have to invest in housing and do so in a way that is dense, sustainable, and affordable. A suburban development of luxury homes is not going to get the job done. Yeah, New York Times, I'm looking at you in that stupid f***ing article that you published. Now, Gavin, I don't mean to rain on your parade, but you said it, not me. There are no more excuses, but this plan of yours is just another excuse. You say to your cities, now we're giving you a model you can put to work immediately with urgency and humanity to resolve encampments and connect people to shelter, housing, and care. Gavin, urgency and humanity do not go hand in hand here. You don't have this stuff yet, and you're just doing the same old crap all over again.
Deja vu, I've just been in this place before.
There's a whole lot of shoulds in your new ordinance. You should provide 48 hours notice before resolving an encampment. You should prioritize shelters and services. You should store people's property when you take it. Gavin, if you're gonna claim to be the compassionate Lord and Savior of the homeless, did you ever consider guaranteeing these rights to people? Did you ever consider that maybe cities would just go, that's too expensive and doesn't get people off the street quickly, so guess we aren't gonna do that? My guy, it really doesn't seem like you did. The cart is officially before the horse, and you are going to trample a lot of people. I'm dumbing a lot of this shit down for a number of reasons, but you get the gist, right? This is your 2000s Coldplay playlist on repeat, and I just gotta say, the clocks are ticking, and this playlist is pretty cold. Nothing will change if people don't actually pony up the political will to end homelessness. This is a solvable problem, but we are choosing not to fix it. And to those who ask, how you gonna pay for it? I'll end this video with a clip of Sean Fain, the president of the United Auto Workers, to tell you exactly how.
I don't think billionaires should exist. No one needs that much money. I think it's inhumane. Pick any city, walk around, you see people starving, people without basic necessities. There's no excuse for that. And it's not because people are lazy or don't want to work. The billionaires that keep amassing more and more wealth so they can build rocket ships and do whatever the hell they want to do, that does nothing for humanity.
Tax the rich, motherfucker.